Well, sure. Come on over. Come on over. So we're called to order. And we've confirmed the quorum, right? Okay. Public comments? No public comments. Review and approval of minutes? Do I have a motion to approve previous meeting minutes? Is that right? Was that correct? Okay.
So moved.
All right. Do you have a second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, motion passes. And now we've got a financial update. So who is giving that?
Good evening. This is moving toward the end of the year. And if you look at the sheet we passed out, you can see where we're primarily over in some places. Those funds have been allocated to other things to finish out the year. If you have a particular question, I'll try to answer it for you.
Is there anything that you think we should be aware of?
Well, we
This looks like
finished
the
the
Matrix.
year actually under budget. We've had our budget restated a couple of times for various reasons. And in our inability to fill a couple of positions, we've been able to use some salary savings, primarily toward the Humans Over Hate initiative. So we feel like we're in good shape to end the year, which ends the end of June, and the new budget would take place July 1.
So just for clarification, the unused portion of salary line item stuff, it's just gone, right? We don't.
If we've not made arrangements with finance to use them in some other operational way, yes, they don't theoretically let you move from year to year funds.
Could you remind us, like some examples of the other professional services line, the second line at the top? I see we have the...
Other professional services could be the hiring of a researcher to do something for us. The hiring of a expert in some other field to do something on our behalf.
So it's typically like project-based,
Yes.
just small spurts?
Yes.
Thank you.
What about the host or hostess?
When we do events where there's purchase of food and that type stuff.
Anything else? Do we feel comfortable moving on? Yep. Sure. All right. Okay, old business, no hate on my plate. Director Tucker.
Yes, we held our first, let me back up just a little bit. In developing this, as we've shared with you, we're planning to have communal meals of small groups, particularly around 40 folk, to have a curated, facilitated conversation to hopefully help individuals better understand each other. We had our first one to kind of test the model. The Faith and Culture Center, American Baptist College, and Millions of Conversations in the persons of Daoud, and I'm not going to mess up his last name, Phyllis Hildreth and Summer Ali are coordinating, putting together what this facilitation model looks like and what these questions are. So we had our first one 2 Thursdays ago between my church and Calvary United Methodist Church from Green Hills. Turned out to be a wonderful event. Got a lot of interest from it, and I think we're on to a pretty good model. Crystal, how many do we have scheduled for this month? 2 for this month. Yes, and so we're in the process now of trying to ramp up to be able to do them. What we would ask, if any of you are interested, is would you be willing to be a table facilitator? All it would take would be to attend a 90-minute online facilitator training, because it's very important, particularly when everybody thinks this is about race, but it's larger than race. It's just about difference. It's about how I believe hate needs 3 things to exist. You need ignorance, you need silence, and you need complicity. And that when those things are active, that can happen. So just the idea of having a meal and having guided questions that the facilitator manages. There's a table agreement of what the individuals agree to, and we need facilitators who are not so much part of the conversation, but keeping the conversation going, making sure that one person doesn't suck all the space out of the room, making sure that the person that is reluctant to talk can feel safe to talk, and those type things. So the first one, Phyllis, Summer, myself, and Daoud were the facilitators, and we took copious notes and all of that. But the event had tears, it had laughter. After the event was over, people tarried around in excess of 30 minutes, which is always good. And so we're just trying to ramp it up. We've got a couple of initiatives with community orgs to sponsor them. We have some meetings set up with a couple of community orgs. I think we're meeting with Neighbor to Neighbor to set up one. We're planning a LGBTQ one. I was at the LGBTQ Council Caucus meeting last week and talked with them about it, and they're very excited about it. And we're also looking at places of faith to also build this out. And we need folks who can help us facilitate, and I think, it'd be no better than if I know you all have, as I look across busy jobs and careers and all of that, but if you would consider that, we would love to have you, because the facilitation of the conversations are the most important part. And we'd like to ultimately build up a cadre of folk who we could use. And if we build up a large enough group that gets trained, we may only have to ask you once, so we wouldn't be able to overpower people. But that's one key element, is that we have people trained in facilitation to be able to guide these, because they can turn in pretty deep, vulnerable ways, and that's kind of what we want. We want people to go away with not necessarily changing your position on something, but at least learning the process of entertaining a different perspective. So that's my long and short. We're all geared up. We've seemed to have quite a bit of interest, and we're looking at moving forward with it.
What are the dates of the next sessions? I think there's 2. You said 2 this month and 1 next month?
Yes, I'm gonna try to turn right here. Okay, can you hear me? Yes. So the next 3 are May 13th will be at the Nashville Food Project from 5:30 to 7:30. May 15th at Thistle Farms Cafe on Charlotte from 5:30 to 7:30. And then there's one already scheduled for June 5th, Kingdom Cafe and Grill from 5:30 to 7:30. And I'll send an email. You'll probably get it before I leave here today. So I'll send an email with these dates as well.
Okay, great. And we can take the training whenever?
No, we're going to set it up,
Oh.
and we're trying to first solicit interest from you. And if you would provide crystal with your names, and we'll try to doodle poll us to see what would work best for all of you who would possibly agree to be a part of this.
Can you remind us again who gets invited, how they get invited? Who makes up the audience?
Well,
at
the
dinner?
host is typically responsible unless they asked us for help. And again, these are some of the details that we're working out. The host is responsible for putting together a desperate group of people, people that may be known to the host that are not known to each other. If they asked us, then we'll try to connect them with another org or someone else to be able to put together their groups. And right now, as part of getting this off the ground, with our budget savings, we're able to assist these organizations with $600 toward their food budget to offset the cost of that, which is a plus. And did that answer your question?
It did. I just am curious to how we make sure that there's diversity in the group, that it's not just a bunch of like-minded people.
Oh, and well, that's part of what we try to make sure happen. Like in this first one, I use people from my church, but I also know other pastors, and so we reached out to Calvary. Yes. Brian Macular. Is that how you say it? Marcoulier? I've been
Well,
hacking
the
that.
French pronunciation is Marcoulier, but I don't know how, I think my husband was his mentor, and I don't know, I think he pronounces it differently.
Yes.
I think you're right. It's more Americanized, like Marcouler or whatever. But the French is Marcoulier.
Okay, well,
Let us be clear.
I have been hatching that name up, but so I reached out to him knowing the differences of our congregations, socially, racially, geographically, and we were able to put that together. But there's also a couple groups. There's the West Nashville District, West Nashville Pastors Coalition, and the IMF, which are the West Nashville group is primarily white churches. IMF is more inner city, so they're working on doing that also. But that's just within the religious community, but also within community organizations that have different demographics that they serve. So yes, it has to be a diverse group, and it doesn't need to be the same. It can't be. It just doesn't work that way.
Darren?
Yeah, to that question too, I will say, I mean, certainly the support in funding for the food helps entice people's interest, but in just having conversations with folks about how to have better conversations across a variety of spaces, I've been really pleasantly surprised at the number of really variety of groups that have expressed interest in taking host roles. That's a Nashville city office looking to do more outreach. That's a community gardens partner. That's another community organization. So I think if we're willing to act as cheerleaders for the potential for these to help serve as sort of a model and training ground for how to have conversations in a variety of spaces, that people have been really receptive to thinking about it in that way as well. So that also promotes its own type of diversity because it's reaching across a number of organizations.
Do we have the participants and the hosts for the one that's coming up on the 13th, or is that something we can help with?
No, I think they've put theirs together. See, typically, the organizations know enough people to bring in the desperate group. And if they don't, that's when we try to hook them up with somebody. But the first two, well, these next two, I think that they have all of their folk. And again, we're trying to be intentional around 40 people, intimate conversations, curated questions, and the facilitation of that conversation, which we've discovered since all three other organizations, Faith and Culture Center years ago had a program called Seat at the Table.
Yes.
Phyllis Hildreth did Real Talks under Megan Berry and Summer Ali's work with Millions of Conversations. And then their willingness to not only lend their time, but also their organizations as co-sponsors of this has been really helpful and meaningful toward creating a model that we think will work. I hate using the word civil, but it may be appropriate that the civility that's necessary to even think we can get a greater understanding. The idea, again, is not around converting anybody, but how do we get folks to come to the table to talk who don't agree with each other? And from my involvement with all three of these organizations in the past, I have seen and I have witnessed really powerful moments of people considering things from different perspectives. The exercise of an individual right seems to be some legal guarantee, but until it impedes or infringes upon my right, that's when it becomes a problem. And so we know the tedious nature of it. And again, I'm really encouraged. I know that it may not seem like much, but as we said when we initiated the Humans Over Hate, how do we help promote and educate people toward anti-hate across all spectrums? Some of those who are hated are often haters also. So how do we just create this space of trying to help people who would not otherwise sit down and talk, come together to talk?
I just want to make a comment about that. Don't underestimate that. I'm here because it started with a seat at the table and making friends. And so I have Muslim friends now that are helping us rewrite our narrative where we work to work with our students better. So just want to say the power of each incremental change like that. So.
Thank you.
You mentioned that you had taken copious notes of the ones that you moderate. Is there a way to share that feedback across all the sessions, just in case other folks are taking notes, just so that we can learn maybe some of the conversations that were shared?
Yes. What we plan to do is to create a toolbox, number one, that would, as we get facilitators identified, to where a organization who wants to host one, they can, here's all the stuff you need to know and do, but we're also trying to, through a survey at the end, capture their feelings and stuff, and so that we can look at that across the long term to see the impact of it. So at the end, there's a QR code on the table. We ask them to do that right now. Before you leave, take just a few minutes and fill out the survey. And then we would share and post all of these over time.
Great. So it sounds like the greatest need or the ask you have of us is to take the training course and act as facilitators at these upcoming No Plate on My Hate sessions.
No hate.
I mean, no hate on my, I'm so sorry. No hate on my plate.
Now, that still works toward the alliterative bent, but, we kind of already picked a name. Mr. Chair. That's all right.
Okay. Well, I hope we can get that training scheduled as soon as possible,
Okay,
because I would love to be at the cafe at Thistle Farm session on the 15th.
okay.
Because not only is it the right thing to do, but they have delicious food. So,
They do have good food. They do have good food.
The record showed there's a
okay.
Felt like you collectively wrong.
I know I was a little, late, I'm sorry, I got stuck in my office, but, is there a protocol, and maybe this is gonna be in the training, is there a protocol for organizations to sign up for it? That we have already set up?
Yes, come on.
I didn't hear what you just said.
Speaking. I'll include that link on the email. I'm composing it right now, but yes.
Okay, thank you. And is there, a goal that we have for one a month, or what's our goal in the structure of how often we, as we pick up steam, that we want to have these so that we can show our progress from a numbers standpoint of this gaining speed?
Okay, staff is gonna kill me.
Sure.
I don't see any
I'll
reason.
protect you, I mean,
I
I'll
don't see any
defend-
reason,
Defend them.
I don't see any reason why we can't have 20 to 25 of these
A month?
a month. Because as they're.
Yeah, they're really gonna kill you.
Yeah, but as it's set up and as we are able to give people a toolkit, then they don't need us. See, we want to get it to where we don't have to be there, and we want to continue to train facilitators. We're also working, we've got 2 or 3 chefs that have agreed to host one and use that chef as the draw card for that. Now, we don't have that on the schedule yet, but that's just my thought, and I'm gonna hear about this. I'm sure Mark is listening, and Daniel made a note. But I just think once we get this thing down, it's such a cool thing, that I don't see any reason why we can't.
So, I mean, obviously that is like the ultimate goal, but in the near future, as we get this off the ground, let's say for the rest of 2026, do we have an incremental goal? Because we're not going to go from 0 to 100.
No, no,
Like
no.
after we go to the training.
I would say in May, we'll be up to 5, and I would say we'd be closer to 5 to 7 in June.
Okay.
And I'm being very, very conservative there. And you see, he's shaking his head to that. But if we can get to 5 in May, we could possibly get to 10 in June. Who knows? And then
seems
you
much more
also, as we asked you about facilitation, you could also be the bridge between 2 groups that could create one. Just between, your various constituencies that you all move between. And again, the idea of diversity here is after you get past race or religion, you got class, you got urban versus rural, you've got LGBTQ, you've got disabilities, any diverse population or group to meet with another group is what we're looking for.
Lovely. I know you're going to send this, but the June date at Kingdom Cafe, what date was that? June 5th. Okay. Okay. Any other questions on No Hate on My Plate? No? Okay, well, that's great. We can move on to new business, committee updates, bylaws.
Our former chair isn't here, but before he left, our Rules and Bylaws Committee met. They recommended the rules changes that are on the agenda. I think this is the second meeting we've had it posted, so if there's any questions about any of that, these are just sort of a combination of housekeeping from the accumulation of 10 years or so of the rules being what they were. My favorite one was, I think, things were required to be in triplicate. There may have been something else that was a good Easter egg for folks to look at to kind of indicate the time. I think Western Union may have been suggested at one point, but we've updated them. We think streamlined them. We've had some excellent feedback from Metro Legal. And yeah, they're before you for a vote today.
Yeah, we removed the name drops for Samuel Morse et al., so just to update things a little bit.
Historical Commission was consulted. They've kept it in their archives, but yeah. Any other comments about the rules from your Commissioner Johnson that you want to share? Okay.
I mean, we should be in good stead by this point. We've brought this to the commission on a couple of occasions. It's gone back and forth through legal. So I'm hoping to just get an affirming nod from legal at this point that we have had the discussions that we need to, that they've seen the changes that we wanted to implement and make, and we're at a conciliated place on where those should be.
Anything else?
I think because the committee has already recommended it, it just kind of comes up for a yay or
Oh,
nay vote. as
we're
opposed
doing
to
that now.
A motion or a second.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay, all right,
I'll do a motion to accept the changes to the bylaws.
okay.
Second.
And then Darren has seconded. So do we do discussion or do we go straight to the vote? Okay, well, would anyone like to discuss? No? No? All right, well then all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. All right, the motion passes to adopt the changes to the bylaws, right?
Thank you. And thank you to all the commissioners who contributed their time and energy to it.
No. Maybe.
I will also note, if I can, there will be a bylaws change coming up. I think some of you all know that quorum has been a thing that people talk about from time to time. That is being undertaken a change. We brought it to Metro Legal. Legal, actually, there's already a mayoral task force that was working on changing certain quorum requirements across Metro boards and commissions. That came up for first reading on the 15th of April. It's going to come up for second reading tomorrow, and then third reading, hopefully, May 20th. So by the time of our next board meeting, that ordinance change will have taken place, which takes supremacy over our bylaws and rules. So now we have a bylaw and rule that we would want to modify to be in compliance with the ordinance. So at our next board meeting, rather than reconvene the Rules and Bylaws Committee to do this, we would just offer it up as an agenda item, and then the board could vote to modify our quorum requirement to be consistent with, hopefully, with the ordinance passes.
And do we know what that change is going to be? Is it just half at this point?
Just
A simple majority. Also that there, with the mayoral task force that's moving through with this legislation would be an attempt at standardization of certain boards and commissions across boards and commissions, which would, we'll lose two positions. We'll go from 17 members to 15 members, but we'll still be one of the largest commissions. And as we had said before, our goal was to have as much representation of Nashville on our board, and that they've agreed. And so we'll go from 17 to 15. They've even worked out the manner in which we would get to that point, which is, I could not explain it to you and make you think I knew what I was talking about. Since we get commissioners that are mayoral appointees and council appointed, and the way in which they're going to work that out. We've agreed to the terms that we think are fair, and all of that, again, hopefully gets done at the council meeting after next.
Very good. Well, I look forward to that. Mayor's budget is next.
As you are aware, the mayor's budget came out last week, and first time in my time, whether even as ED or a commission member, the mayor's office included us in his budget. So we have I'm telling you, that is something to kind of clap about. Our budget increases the last 2 years have come from the council in their budget prep of augmenting the mayor's budget. This year, we won't have to do that. One of the things that we've talked about during the year is this language access piece of trying to figure out just what's going on and where are the things are and how best it could be. And we believe we're going to get a chance to do that. And we're just trying to seek clarity as to the funds. It's roughly would be, we have a very small budget, so I'll just give the number. The percentage makes it sound a lot more than it is, but roughly around $300,000. So for us, that's a huge, huge number.
Amazing. Anything else on the budget?
No, we're grateful to the mayor's staff and the mayor for supporting this work with Metro funds.
And was there any proactivity there to be included in the mayor's budget, or was it collaborative?
I'd say it was collaborative. I think we have a good relationship with the current administration, and that some of the causes are right up our line. MHRC has been working on language access for years, and to get it moved along to Kathy and I did a presentation several months ago to the Metro department heads, which was huge to help them understand the importance of it and the quality of life that it has for certain Nashvillians. So from that point, Daniel began working with various people in the finance and the mayor's shop to kind of do a cursory assessment of where we were, what it looked like, and so from there offered, here's what we think we can do. And so we're trying to tee it up to, over the next year or more, assess it and come up with some long-term plan that would make it more effective and efficient Metro-wide.
Very good. Other questions? No? All right, we'll move on.
Actually, just one. Is that I guess the other key piece, good to see that there is a dedicated byline for us in the mayor's budget. And I'm picking this up implicitly, but is that in line with what you would hope? I mean, we had been talking about and sort of talking with the council about trying to encourage a higher amount. So I'm just wondering if the amount that's in the mayor's budget is in alignment, or at least in the ballpark, with what we had been hoping, what you all had been hoping for.
It's a loaded question, Commissioner.
Yeah, I'm good at those.
And I will answer that. We asked for quite a bit more well, let me back up just briefly. In the submission of the budget, we were asked to give a 3-year budget and to explain what we would do over these 3 years. And so last year, we didn't get all of the first year. So it meant that we had to redo the whole 3 years again, and to attempt to continue to move with these initiatives that you're talking about. So while we didn't, we are considering and talking about whether or not we need to continue to maybe even ask the council, talk with the chair about it, and we haven't made a decision as of this point. Looking at the budget and the way the state of the city sounded, with the uncertainty and the impact of the loss of some funds. I like to at least feel like I got a shot to win. And so we're still assessing that.
Thank you. Appreciate that. I mean, it's a complex moment right now in conversations like this, so thank you.
Other questions? Okay. Mayor's Housing Initiative?
We are, I don't know whether you've seen it, it's a 200-page document. There's an accompanying study from planning, the housing infrastructure report that was compiled by planning Director Claxton. I found it to be one of the more truthful housing reports that I have read in forever. We also were given a personal overview of the report, which we're grateful for that, of being asked to the table around that. And
We meaning MHRC.
MHRC, yes. We all know the housing problem and the loss of what we're saying are middle and low income. But then I don't know if all of Nashville is really educated around how we got here. And that's why I celebrate the report that Claxton did. It's a detailed report that outlines the historic nature of exclusionary zoning that has gotten us here, and that the deconstruction of that is going to be crucial to be able to get density, as the housing report outlines. And as you know, MHRC, again, historically, has been housing advocates. The commission has done at least 3 different housing reports over time. So the Mayor's Housing Initiative is a bold initiative, I would say. It's a multi-year, and some of the initial investments that will get the ball rolling, but the entire report in general is really going to hinge on some major issues, legislation that would need to change certain zoning things and stuff like that. So we're looking over it with an eye toward equity, and as we get that together, we'll submit that to you, and hopefully we as a commission can respond to it in hopefully a helpful way.
Is there a way that we can both get a copy of the 200-page report, but also is there like a video, or could we have a briefing the way that you had a briefing on the report?
If you go to the planning website, sorry,
Okay,
CityCast
sorry.
Nashville did an entire episode about this, but if you go to the planning website, you can actually watch Greg's presentation to council, which
Okay.
should be very similar, if not
Very, very.
identical, to the one that MHRC received, and the report is also available to
Yes.
download. And it is shocking, but like you, Director Tucker, I'm thrilled that people are finally saying things out loud.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
And then my other, hold on, Craig's presentation. And then my other question is, do we, as MHRC, do we know what role we're going to be tasked to play in this
Well-
just yet? Or are we just going to try to, do we have a specific role, or are we squeezing our way into the table?
Well, I think equity is always our role.
Sure.
And we show up and we make comments sometimes at invitation and sometimes without invitation. But I think here is a opportunity for an invitation that I think as you go through it and you look at the various categories and the things that must happen, the public-private partnerships and all of these things. It's a complex document that's going to be a multi-year. It's almost to me like the way and I even think maybe the mayor might have even explained it like that somewhere. I'm not sure, but like the Nashville Next was. It was a forward-looking document that stretched out time, but it had some pivotal start points that needed to happen. And I think that anything we can do to lend our voice to it is just out of the work that we've been doing historically around housing.
I love it. More questions? Darren? Nothing? Announcements. This has gone so well.
Go ahead, Commissioner Wynn.
Can everyone hear me? Okay. Hello, the announcements, I'm going to repeat the ones that we already gave as well as send them to you, but just so they're in your head. So for the No Hate on My Plate events this month, it's May 13th at the Nashville Food Project from 5:30 to 7:30. May 15th, 5:30 to 7:30 at Thistle Farms Cafe. If you don't want to facilitate just yet, you can come. There are still seats available. So I'll send you the information for the website, but please sign up. So that way you can come and see what it's really like before you actually do it. And June 5th is Kingdom Cafe and Grill from 5:30 to 7:30. I also want to put out there a couple meetings for us. May 16th is the XCOM meeting at 11 o'clock. I will send the calendar invite for that as well. And May 16th for the nominations committee. You know who you are if you're on that committee. One more thing, we don't have a flyer out just yet, but please mark your calendars for June 19th, which is Juneteenth, of course, and we're hosting a celebration, which we hope that you will all prioritize our celebration. It will be at the Nashville Museum of African American Music from 12 to 2:30. There'll be a panelist of guests. Our facilitator or moderator, of course, will be D. Davy Tucker, so you have to be there to support him, as well as other guests. And we want you to come out and invite people. We have room for, I believe, between 150 and 200 people. So please come as soon as we get the information out. I will publicize it and distribute it to you all to distribute it to your people as well. And the documentary will be shown on that date, the full 25-minute documentary. We've seen it. It's great. You have to come to see it. That's from 12 to 2:30. I'll send the invite for that as well, just so you can have it marked on your calendar. Any questions? Great, thank you.
Other announcements?
Yes, I want to follow up on a comment I made a couple of meetings ago, and to say that for those who don't know, a concern I expressed then was about our ongoing work, the city's ongoing efforts to put into place a variety of surveillance technologies to offer some level of safety in the forms that they were imagining, and that the mayor's office moved away, backed off of that about a week and a half ago now. I am glad for that. It shows a willingness to really attend to the frequently expressed concerns of a number of different constituencies in the city. And one of those primary concerns that was discussed is that we don't exactly have full control, not just of the technologies, but of all of the actors who might avail themselves of those technologies. We saw full evidence this weekend of just how little control we have over other actors and their movement to act against citizens, residents of our communities. I was at the Office of Homeland Security yesterday. I saw a 7-year-old pleading with others, trying to convince them that she was Guatemalan instead of Venezuelan, because she thought that that change in country of origin would wield some positive impact, some positive effect, not just for herself, but for those she knew and those she loved. I saw tears on her face. I saw the absolute terror on her face as Office of Homeland Security officers stood mere feet away, smoking cigars, grinning, and making jokes. We don't have control over all of the actors in this room, but the one thing that we do have the power to affect is how we as a commission, working with the good staff that we have from this small place, can continue to work to try to create environments of safety, opportunities for welcome, and shelter from the various types of storms that come up in our midst, even when we least expect it. I don't think I realized just how much yesterday felt heavy until I was away from it. But to see the buses with bars across their window and agents getting the opportunity to act tough in all the ways that they felt that they could to demonstrate power and power over continues to sit with me. And so I would encourage us as we go forward to continue to think seriously about the ways that we from this space can work to not just push back against discrimination in the many forms that we have to contend with on a day-to-day basis, but also to provide safety again from those who would want to wield harm. Grateful for the mayor's office recognition of how things can happen outside of our control, but in our midst, and hope that this weekend, if nothing else, serves as an object lesson for the city's government and for each of us of how we need to work to make sure that we stay safe together. Thank you.
If I can, I'd really like to piggyback off of that. And first of all, commend Commissioner Johnson for being out there. I was on a plane headed back from Minneapolis, and I saw a video and saw Darren there. And that was striking for me simply because we all know each other, right? We're just friends. We're just neighbors. We just live in this community together. And then you see the kind of protest or opposition video that you've seen in other cities, and all of a sudden they're your friends and neighbors and loved ones. And I would like to also commend the mayor's office for the press conference that was held today, in which it was acknowledged that this was a traumatic event for people. I would like to say that as a commission, I think that one of our roles could be to find a path so that there is not over 24 hours between the traumatic event and the moment that someone in city leadership steps up and says that this was a traumatic event. I understand, much to Commissioner Johnson's point, that there are things outside of our control, but when people in this city are hurting, all of us should have a way to join voices together and say out loud and with our full chest that people are hurting, no matter what we're worried that the state or the federal government might do to us or our funding. I used to work in natural disaster relief and recovery. I worked for World Central Kitchen for many years. And in a natural disaster, you don't know when or where it's going to hit. You know it's just going to show up at some point, and you've got to be ready. And in the same way that this city continues to work and hone and have conversations to strengthen our disaster response plans, we need what happened yesterday to be the moment that we start, and maybe even with this commission, to build a response plan for that kind of disaster. So I challenge us, I challenge our city's leaders, I challenge the mayor's office, I challenge council, I challenge everyone who is streaming this on YouTube. And then I also just want to say that I am very heartened as well to hear that Metro will be partnering with the Community Foundation for Middle Tennessee. Hal Cato announced during that press conference that they're going to ramp up this belonging fund that was mentioned in the state of Metro, and that the goal of this right now is going to be to raise money to help support nonprofits that are helping the immigrant community. I would like to be very clear, however, that right now in this moment, if people would like to or are able to donate money that will go directly to the impacted families so that they can buy groceries and pay their rent, that they can go to the Nashville Unidos Mutual Aid Fund, which is something that is being run by the Remix Tennessee, a volunteer organization that's been monitoring, ICE activity in town. So you can go to remixtennessee.betterworld.org, and the money that you donate there will go directly to families in a direct mutual aid capacity. Again, I just challenge all of us to, now that we don't just see that this might happen, but see that it has happened, it's time for everyone to step up and find a role that you can play to protect the people of Nashville. Thank you.
Anyone want to follow that? Well, I appreciate both of you bringing that attention to that issue to the surface of this meeting, because I do think it is an appropriate avenue for us to have that discussion here amongst this commission. What happened in our community was horrifying, and I think the lack of humanity and the cruelty is often the point with these folks. And until we see a change in Congress or the administration, I think we can continue to expect this type of thing to happen in our community. So if there are no other announcements, we're adjourned. Sound good?
Oh, I get a motion.
Oh, okay. Motion to adjourn?
You're turning into a tyrant.
Oh, no. Okay. Second. All right. All those in favor? All right. All those opposed say nay. We are adjourned. Good job. Thank you. That wasn't so bad.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.